Welcome, welcome. This is so special, is it not? How many of you look forward to this? I like to say as much as I do every evening. This is a very special night, each and every year. Celebration of Orlando. Mayor is here this evening. What's right with Central Florida, and certainly the best in college football and Florida citrus sports. We have a program here tonight, and of course the highlight is the foremost college football expert that we know, and our dear friend, Orlando's own Lee Corso, is with us here tonight. Whoa. He was at Texas A&M kissing reveille the collie, as I saw, Lee, and you're headed to see the Gators and the Tennessee Volunteers this weekend. What's up? How you doing? Your take on college football out of the gate here, Lee.
Well, thank you very much. I want you to know that I really appreciate this meeting because, as you know, I had a stroke about May 16th, 2009, 8:30 in the morning. And I've had some problems at times, but this group has never let me down. You've been, it's my close friends, and I look forward to this. Every year I look forward to this more than anything else because I get a chance to be home with my friends. And especially, I want to thank you very much for having enough faith in me to keep having me come back. Kara Hobster and I were talking 22 years. I've been here. 22 years. Wow. I didn't realize it. But thank you very much, and especially thank you for bearing with me when I had my stroke. Thank you very much.
Coach,
Yes.
Coach, Alabama won the national championship, off to a good start, annihilating Michigan. What is to change this season? Give me just the quick take on what you see out of the box.
The first thing, you got to remember one thing. No team has ever won the BCS championship back-to-back. That's why I didn't pick Alabama to win it, because it's tough to win it twice in a row. But when I saw them in Michigan, they were tremendous. And I expect probably the LSU-Alabama game will be the determining factor on who wins the championship. LSU is very good. They got a good quarterback and throw the ball, great defense, great runners. LSU-Alabama game, yeah, they're very, very good. But they were good last year, too. 21-0. Roll Tide. But I think the Southeastern Conference is by far the best conference in all of football.
The SEC has won the national title, as you know, 6 consecutive years. We get the number 2 team here on New Year's Day. 4 of the top 8 are out of the SEC, 2 of the top 3. Alabama and LSU, they meet on November 3rd. USC coach in the West Coast, Lane Kiffin, Matt Barkley, Heisman Trophy favorite there in USC. They play at Stanford this weekend. What do you see? They're ranked 2nd in the nation, the Trojans.
Well, they're 9.5-point favorites, and that's a very, very tricky game because USC for the last 2 years has lost their first road game in the Pac-10. Arizona State last year, they have trouble. They're not playing well on defense. Barkley, I didn't pick to win the Heisman. I picked Landry Jones. And because I picked Landry Jones when he was a sophomore, he didn't win it. Well, he come back. And I picked Landry Jones last year, he didn't win it. I picked Landry Jones this year. If he doesn't win it, if he comes back for a graduate degree, I'm picking him again. Wisconsin's going to win it by default on one side. But I think Michigan State's by far the best team in the Big Ten. I think Michigan State's defense, and they can run the ball, and they're very strong physically. Michigan State should beat Notre Dame this week and go on and win the Big Ten. I picked Michigan State to go to the Rose Bowl, and they'll probably play Wisconsin. Wisconsin lost to Oregon State this weekend, but it was not a conference game, so it didn't affect them. I think the Big Ten is down a little bit. Ohio State, to me, is the best football team in the Big Ten. That guy, Urban Meyer, can coach, boy. Ohio State is set their goal on winning on the field their half of the championship. They cannot play in the Big Ten championship game, or they can't play in a bowl game. They are on probation 1 year. But I tell you what, I'll say it again publicly. Urban Meyer will win the national championship in Ohio State in 3 years. I'll tell you one thing, the guy can coach and he can get players, and they got some good-looking players coming in, and that quarterback, Braxton Miller, has got 2 more years after this one. And that's why I say national championship, Ohio State.
Is USC or UCLA better on the West Coast?
I think USC is only because the UCLA looks pretty good, but the USC's got that tradition. They believe they can win. But I think Oregon might be the team on the West Coast if you see those guys play. But I remember one thing: USC plays Oregon the same night LSU plays Alabama. That's right. That's why we were torn where we were going to go. But I tell you what, Oregon, USC be a tough ball game.
Jim Mora Jr.'s at UCLA. They look pretty good against Nebraska, Coach.
Yes.
Over here, Larry, Mr. Ruffin.
Brady Hope, Michigan. What do you think he's going to do in Michigan?
Well, I think
Damn good to me.
Well, I think he's a good coach, and he won last year with 10 games or something, and he's got a good ball club. His good thing about him, he does not have to play Alabama again. Seriously, but I tell you what, you learn a lot when you play a team like that good. You then know what the best is like, and your team says we'll never play guys that good. So I tell you what, I think he'll do very well, but I don't think he can beat Ohio State.
If Ole Miss beats Texas, could this be their year?
Absolutely. Ole Miss ain't going to beat Texas. And they got 11 points underdog. But Texas's defense is too good. I tell you what, it'll be a good ball game. Texas defense will beat Ole Miss this weekend by a touchdown. Because it's going to be a tough ball game playing in Texas. I mean, in Mississippi. But then I tell you what, I like that Texas. I made predictions. Let me give these predictions. The 2 BCS teams that are going to be, besides the regular ones, are going to be Texas. They're going to play, I say they'll play on the Fiesta Bowl, and I say Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's going to win 9 games on the toughest schedule in America and end up going to the Sugar Bowl. Now, Notre Dame's a pretty good football team, and they will. And let me tell you something about Notre Dame. If they can win 9 games, they don't care how they can win. Somebody has win 11 games. They'd rather have Notre Dame at this bowl game than anybody else. I said that last year here, and I'm going to say it again. Whenever you get a chance at any of our bowl games, get Notre Dame. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the Orange Bowl is setting up an agreement with Notre Dame to be one of the host teams there. Check it out. They're no longer Big East. ACC, Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. That will be something you have to look for.
Hey, Lee, a follow-up to that. Outside of the SEC, who is the best competitor to not play in that league?
I don't understand that.
Outside of the SEC,
Yeah.
who can play along with the SEC teams?
Oklahoma and USC and Ohio State. They could play any day with the SEC. I don't think Oregon's got a problem in defense. They can't stop anybody. They're pretty good. Oregon might be Oregon, but I think Oklahoma, USC, and Ohio State are the best teams in the country besides the SEC.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right over here, Coach. Over here.
Who's your prediction for the SEC championship?
Who do you like? Pardon?
Bama?
Bama? That's a good pick. I'll tell you why I said I used to, when I first got the job, I'd walk down the airport and the guy say, "Who do you like, Coach?" I say, "What do you mean? Who do you like in, you like Georgia defense?" I said, "I don't know about Georgia." They grab your throat. Now I walk down the, they say, "Who do you like?" I say, "Who do you like?" Duke. Sounds good to me. I picked Georgia as the SEC champion. Hey, see, that's what I picked Georgia. I thought I was making a big mistake after the first game, but I was very impressed with Georgia in the fourth quarter against Missouri in a hostile environment. Georgia they don't play, I think they don't play Alabama or LSU. So I think they're going to win the East, and then they might sneak up in the championship.
Yes, please. Hey.
Coach, interested to know your thoughts. We got Mizzou and A&M joining the SEC.
Great.
Think it's great as an SEC fan?
They're great. Anybody, I say the Florida fans that went to Texas A&M this weekend. Let me tell you, that was a fantastic trip. All the guys I met on the plane coming back, the Florida people said Texas A&M were the nicest people that they ever went to see. They were better than most of the SEC teams because there wasn't any hatred there. Texas A&M, Missouri are going to be great assets to the SEC. No question about it. Let me tell you what worries me about Florida State. Florida State constantly screws up North Carolina State or Wake Forest or somebody. They look good. They beaten everybody and they lose the games they're supposed to win. They have not proven to me they've got the intestinal fortitude that go all the way. They got to prove it to me. I say I like them. I hope they do. But I tell you what, they'll probably beat Clemson and lose to North Carolina State. That's always, you mark my words. That's the way it always is. And they're a good football team, and they got some great players.
All the way in the back.
Yes, sir.
Big East.
Big East. I picked Louisville. Louisville's got a good football team. They got a guy named Teddy Bridgewater, I think is the name, from Miami. He's a good football player. They got a good team. Louisville should win the Big East, but South Florida's got a chance. They're probably the second best team in there. But I think that quarterback will be the difference in Louisville. They play North Carolina this week. I think they'll beat North Carolina, which will be a big win for them.
Anybody can beat that.
No.
West Virginia is 9th in the nation as they go into the
West
Big
Virginia
12.
has not played anybody. Who they play?
Are they living off the Clemson win of a year ago?
Off the last year's 70 wins and 70 points, and they think, well, they got to go to the Big 12. Yeah. They're playing the Big 12 now. West Virginia is a pretty good football team offensively, and they'll have to prove themselves when they play the Big 12.
Couple of more questions. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Coach, who do you think the best upcoming coach is?
Best upcoming coach. Who's caught your eye?
Well, there's a guy named Jones at Cincinnati. Butch Jones, I think his name is. He's a very, very good coach. I like him. And obviously, all the regular guys that you know him. But I think he's the best young coach around. Cincinnati is not a great place, but he gets good players and well coached. I think last year the last 2 years they won the Big East or coming in close to the Big East. But a guy named Butch Jones, I think he'll be the next head coach someplace real big. He's not a name that you don't ever hear too much about.
Oh, one more. Yes, sir.
Hey,
South Carolina, the ball
I
coach.
got to hope and pray to God. I said, that South Carolina would not win the SEC for 400 years. And last year, I said, well, maybe 385. But I tell you what, Steve Spurrier is doing the best coaching job he's ever did. And I tell you what, he did a job this week. I thought he'd give Ron Dowdy, he's East Carolina team, I thought they'd give them a real bad. He brought a quarterback off the bench, and the guy throws the ball all over the place. I think Steve Spurrier, he's proven he's a real coach at South Carolina. And I think, no question. But I think the big problem he has, he plays, I think Alabama or he plays LSU and those guys in the West. But in last year, he beat every team in the East and lost only to the West. And so I think they're a good football team. They will be for more years. And he is a terrific coach.
And Ron Dowdy finished first runner-up last weekend to him at East Carolina. Just a quick thought, Coach. Russell Athletic Bowl is the ACC and the Big East. Would you have, if you were to take a prediction at that?
I'd rather not. Cause
Or the Capital One?
No, I'd rather not do that.
The SEC and the Big Ten?
No.
Can I ask you this?
Yes.
What was the epiphany? What gave you the inspiration? I watch you every Saturday when you get ready to put on the mascot hat. When is the first time that happened, and what in the world, what inspired you to start what is now one of the, as I was saying when I brought you up, the most highest rated moment on ESPN?
It's really crazy, but we were sitting on the stage at Ohio State, and they're playing Iowa, and I saw this Brutus the Buckeye walk by. I said to Herb Street, I said, I'm going to pick Ohio State tomorrow, but it'd be easy for me if I could get that head and I put it on, then I wouldn't have to say anything. He said, okay. So they got me the head, and I put it on, and geez, the crowd went crazy. The truck went crazy. And people at ESPN went crazy. I said, I think I got me a stick here. But it's it's amazing. I'm going down in history. Is the only guy be famous for putting something in my head.
Now the Oregon Duck put your head.
Oh, the Oregon Duck, he's my favorite, Mickey. But that's the way it happened. And it just from there exploded, and it's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun tonight, Lee. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, wait. I want to say one thing. I don't know how much longer I'll be coming back here, because you never know things about. But I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for 22 years of being so nice to me, and I love it. You're my favorite time of the year, and thank you very, very much.
Lee Corso.